this is what we're going to see. So in the AL, the number 1 seed is the oh, good Lord.
Wow.
I almost started that terribly.
Holy
the Houston
cow.
Astros. Number 2 seed is the New York Yankees. Both get a bye week the first week. So great. Awesome. The wild card, though, in the AL, you have the Cleveland Guardians versus Tampa Bay Rays. I'm going to be pushing for the Guardians wholeheartedly. I really like this team. I actually was talking with Clark about it, I believe on their show, where we were talking about baseball, and he was kind of bringing up the Guardians, and we were just going over their roster and like what these guys are doing right now. This is a really scary team. They're gonna be fun to watch. Then you have in the 4th seed the Toronto Blue Jays, who I feel like should have been way better. And I'm a little concerned about them being in the postseason. They're going to be going against the Seattle Mariners, who I think a lot of people were probably going to pick Toronto. I'm really going to be rooting for the Seattle Mariners. I really like the Mariners team. Their starting rotation is kind of bad. And so that's my only worry about them is Toronto actually has a pretty good starting rotation. Not great, but they're pretty good. And then the bullpens for both teams, I think Mariners have a better bullpen. So if it does become a bullpen game, I do think the Mariners could come out on top. But either way, that's going to be a really fun series. Then in the NL, obviously, we have the Dodgers at number 1 seed. They get the bye week. And then the Atlanta Braves at the number 2 seed with their bye week. Then you have the St. Louis Cardinals in the number 3 spot going against the Philadelphia Phillies. If you were to tell me that these two teams were going to face off in postseason in the start of the season, I would have picked the Phillies all day on Sunday. But the way they play and the way the Cardinals play great as a team. The way that Pujols is going into the postseason, he has to actually be a factor. Like, you have to worry about his at-bats. And then Yadier Molina, who is a guy who just makes contact. I mean, I don't think I ever see him strike out. That team is starting to finally catch on fire. And the Phillies, they held on to the postseason, but they labored a lot. They just didn't look great. So I think the Phillies are a few years away from doing what they want to do. So I think they're going to lose this one. Then the 4th seed, you have the New York Mets, and the 5 seed, the San Diego Padres. Again, you were to tell me, I would probably pick the Padres, actually, even without Juan Soto. Now you have Juan Soto, and I'm kind of like, the Mets could win, but the way the Mets have played, and the Padres are they may sweep the Giants. If they win tomorrow, they would have swept the Giants, which actually, if you're the Padres, you're kind of going for, because you want to go into the postseason on a high note. And if you sweep a division rival, that's going to give you a big spark. So if you're the Mets, you're really rooting for the Giants tomorrow, because you don't want the Padres to get too high. Because if they do, they have starting pitching to counter yours. Their bullpen, in my opinion, is better than what the Mets is. The lineup can be better, but I think the Mets lineup has played better. So that could go either way. I'm probably going to give the edge to the Mets, but I would not be at all surprised at all if the Padres ended up winning the series. I do think they will miss Fernando Tatis a little bit. Ha-Seong Kim has been good for the Padres, and I think he deserves a medal for just he was supposed to play half of the year, and then all of a sudden he played the full year. Obviously, they've been rotating guys too. It hasn't been just him, but he's been good. But he has some just really bad games where he just can't see the ball at all. So we'll see what happens. But honestly, if I'm a betting man, to come out of the American League, oh man, I'm probably going to say the Astros. My second one would probably be the Guardians. I think the Guardians are that good.
Wow.
I think those two teams are probably going to face off in the ALCS. And then I would probably pick the Braves and Dodgers to come out of the NL, and I actually would probably give favor to the Braves just because I do think the Dodgers are going to miss Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
But the way they're setting up their bullpen and their starting rotation, the Dodgers could still really be they could probably go to the World Series as well. So it's going to be interesting. I think this postseason is one of those postseasons that I don't think there's really a true favorite because I could see how all these favorites could lose.
Yeah. So what was your prediction earlier this year? Was it Dodgers and Yankees? Right? Was that who you had going to the World Series at the start?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the Dodgers can get there fine. I think their hitting is gonna get them past their pitching woes, and even still, their pitching woes aren't that bad. Yes, they're missing their ace, but they've done just fine in their rotation without Buehler for basically all season. So I don't see them really falling off anytime soon. My only thing with the Braves, though, is, again, you pointed this out a couple of weeks ago. Their pitching, their bullpen, is it going to be able to hold up? Because they've got the hitters there, and maybe it's the experience. I do think, though, that if the Dodgers and the Braves do meet, I do think that it favors the Braves a little bit because I don't know how Freddie Freeman's going to be going to Atlanta, playing that team, and possibly beating him. He might be an emotional wreck, and I think that will affect him. Which is huge because, the Braves brought his bat in because he is essentially a spark getter. I think if I'm not mistaken, he's led off majority of the season in their lineup because he's just a guy that gets on base and makes contact and does what he does. I just don't know if he'll be able to stay focused if he's in a series with the Braves. So I would kind of agree with you that the Braves would have the upper hand there against the Dodgers if they, met in the NLCS. So.
Yeah, I actually have the Dodgers and Red Sox, so the Red Sox aren't even near it. So I was wrong on that, but I still have the Dodgers. But my thing is this: I look at the Braves, who they have to face, Phillies or Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I would pick the Braves. It doesn't matter either team. The Dodgers would have to either face the Mets or the Padres. I think that's way harder. Even for the Dodgers, you mentioned Freeman. Betts Betts needs to be talked about way more. Yes, he's hitting like a high 270. I think he's like 279. But he has 35 home runs, and he's been primarily the leadoff hitter for the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman is usually the number 2, sometimes mostly the number 3 hitter. Muncy has been almost a guy who just swings and misses at everything, but then when all of a sudden he gets hot, he's just this amazing hitter. Cody Bellinger has been hitting like 7th and 8th and has found a home there and has actually done pretty well. Joey Gallo kind of got a rejuvenation, so there's something going on with the Dodgers. I think they have a really good lineup, but at the same time, the Mets and Padres are no slouch. Those are tough teams to play. I think you had the Yankees. I don't know who you NL team.
I had the Astros. I think I had the Astros in the AL, and I can't remember the NL. I think I said.
I thought you said the Yankees because I was like, I picked the Yankees so many times, and I can't pick them anymore.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I did say Yankees in the NL. I can't remember who I picked in the NL. I want to say it was either the Braves. No, it wasn't the Braves. I can't remember the NL. I just remember AL. You're right. Was the Yankees.